Hello everyone, I'm Jason Stewart. I'm from the Aberdeen and Grampian Chamber of Commerce, and I am delighted to have the opportunity to go through the role the Chamber has in the regional economy and the economic outlook for Aberdeen's young workforce as part of DYW's Scottish Apprenticeship Week. So, what is the role of the Chamber of Commerce? Really, we are quite a simple organisation on the face of it, in the sense that we have two real priorities. One is that we provide a range of support to enable businesses from the Northeast to be successful today and to grow for tomorrow. We also help create the economic conditions to ensure that the region is successful right now and in the future. And if you look at our membership, we are actually the largest Chamber of Commerce in Scotland. We have almost 1,250 member organisations split across multiple sectors. You'll see that on the chart on the right-hand side that about 400 or so of our members are within the energy space, but we are also made up by representation from the third sector, tourism, transport, retail, property and business services, amongst others. We're politically independent and not linked to any political colour or persuasion, and we are a not-for-profit and not publicly funded in any way, which means that we have a lot of freedom to stand up for and support the region on lots of different levels, from local government all the way up to Westminster. These are our premier partners. These are the companies that we work with on the most strategic level, which includes, as you'll see, some of the region's excellent educational establishments, with the University of Aberdeen, North East Scotland College and RGU listed amongst those. I'm now going to go on to explain a little bit about how the Chamber supports the regional economy, creating the desired economic conditions for now, but also crucially for everyone in this room in the future. So this year is a bit of a blockbuster year when it comes to our economic development activities, with it being a general election. We have a long list of economic development activities for Aberdeen City and Shire as a region. And these are designed to make the region a place that people want to do business, that people want to live, study, work and invest. Listing some of these on the slide in front of you, you'll see that making your city centre better, including our famous Our Union Street initiative, is something that we are incredibly passionate about at the Chamber. And that isn't just filling the empty units within the Union Street area, it's also the transport and accessibility issues that are being faced at the moment in terms of getting people in and out of the city centre. Speaking of people coming to the city centre, the supporting of the UK government's property agency with the relocation of the Department for Energy Security and Net Zero, bringing around 200 civil service workers to Aberdeen for their second headquarters, is a key economic development activity this year. We're in discussions with organisations seeking to invest in the region, and those are some within Scotland, within the UK and internationally. We're also shaping our £160 million investment zone status for a 10-year plan on how to best utilise that new funding available, and there's more information to come on that one. The Chamber is a key player in the design and delivery of the Regional Economic Strategy Action Plan, and we are also showcasing the region to investors via our Absolutely Regional narrative and the upcoming 7th edition of our investment tracker, which shows about £16 billion worth of future pipeline investment in the northeast of Scotland. In terms of connectivity to the region, we're looking at rail and air this year, with making the case for route development funding, which is essentially funding available to support airlines flying to and from the northeast of Scotland. And in the case of rail, we are just finalising some case for the new Transport Scotland project with regards to the Northeast Rail project, which I can go into in just a little bit more later on. The Northeast is a region that's proven time and time again that when provided with investment, the payback is both quick and vast. One shining example of this is our city city-region deal, which showcases the strength of partnerships across sectors and levels of innovation in the region. So this city centre region deal had a funding package initially of £250 million, 125 million from the Scottish and 125 million from the UK government. The deal envelope so far is worth over £1 billion, and that is due to the strong private, public and third sector partnership that drives additional investment in deals such as this. This is a shining example of Aberdeen as a city, in that if it's given a little bit of support and funding, it usually pays back handsomely. The key projects that have been included within this deal are the new Net Zero Technology Centre, the BioHub Life Sciences Facility, the Food and Drink Centre of Excellence near the P&J Live, the Seed Pod, and the new £420 million South Harbour, amongst many others. And this, I very much like this slide because it does show the resilience and the forward-thinking attitude of Aberdonians. But we don't always get the funding or support that we perhaps need or deserve. Last year, the Chamber hit back against the Scottish and UK government with its famous ABBA headline in response to the North East losing out on Freeport status, which comes with generous incentives for businesses such as tax relief and streamlined planning processes, with our Anywhere But Bloody Aberdeen headline. And really that created some waves in the local market and further afield. But despite the loss of the Freeport status, there's a lot of things to look forward to in Aberdeen, which will shape the economic environment for generations to come. And I'm going to go through a few of those for you. We may have lost out in the Freeport status, but we did gain investment zone status, a big win for the region and actually much less restricted than Freeport's. For those of you that are not familiar with Freeports or investment zones, these are, in this case, is a 10-year programme worth £160 million of tax incentives, capital and revenue funding supported by the UK government. And to underpin the investment zone is clean energy development and digital technologies, which enable the growth of agriculture, life sciences and energy sectors. The deal will include 3 tax sites covering up to 600 hectares. And for those of you that are not familiar with the measurement of a hectare, it's the equivalent of 909 pataudries. Tax incentives can include reliefs on land and buildings tax, business rates, employer national contributions, as well as a whole host of other benefits. So this is a very exciting win for the northeast of Scotland, and as I say, perhaps better than a Freeport status. On the same kind of topic, we're looking at our energy transition zone. This puts Aberdeen as enviably placed within the UK and perhaps on a global scale to lead on the world-leading skills cluster and to deliver Britain's energy transition to new and green energy. The ETZ is a private-led, not-for-profit company which is going to spearhead Scotland's energy transition. And with the cluster of knowledge available in the northeast of Scotland, it is repositioning the region as a globally recognised new and green energy cluster. The focal point of the energy transition zone is once again a massive 250 hectare site, around £420 million Aberdeen South Harbour. But really this puts us in a very enviable position to have companies invest in this region for the largest dedicated energy transition complex in all of Scotland. A lot of this is working in partnership with Opportunity Northeast, which is a unique private and public sector partnership supporting 5 key growth areas. So the growth areas that are part of this partnership are energy, and having the Northeast recognised as a global hub for generations to come and anchoring the supply chain here as part of Britain's energy transition. It's helping digital businesses and tech founders scale innovative businesses at pace. It's capitalising on the Northeast position as a world leader in food, drink and agriculture and the production of sought-after products such as seafood, whiskey, beers, meats and shortbread. It's commercialising research by world-leading scientists and taking these solutions to global markets. and is leveraging our outstanding natural environment to create unique and exceptional visitor experiences in tourism. Speaking of tourism, the Chamber is working strategically with Visit Aberdeenshire to have the North East recognised as a leading tourism destination. And there's so much for visitors to enjoy, from food and drink to castle trails, including Balmoral Estate, some of the world's best golf courses, to events all year round, such as the tall ships returning to Aberdeen and one of the UK's best venues in the P&J Live. The new 400 million South Harbour, since opening last year, has welcomed boats filled with thousands of tourists, and this represents an exciting economic and visitor experience opportunity as part of this tourism strategy. But in the words of the Aber moaner, we all know one, and if you don't, it might well be you. Nothing ever happens in Aberdeen. Does that sound familiar? One of the Chamber's key pieces of research this year is our investment tracker. This really has been designed to showcase the investments that have happened and are continuing to happen in this place. And now approaching its 7th edition, this document will outline all of the completed and upcoming investments since it began in 2017. The completed projects since the first tracker have accumulated the small sum of 6.5 billion, and that's been completed in just a few short years across a variety of sectors and businesses. But if we look further ahead, you'll see that the tracker from last year has revealed a future investment pipeline of £16 billion. So think about that the next time you hear from an Aber moaner saying that nothing ever happens in Aberdeen. With all of that said, Aberdeen remains a region renowned for energy, and this year is pivotal for the future of the industry with the looming general election. The Chamber has been representing this industry as the voice of business in the North East. We are still Europe's oil and gas capital. There's about 200,000 people directly employed in the UK in the energy sector today. Just under half of those jobs are actually in Scotland, but a quarter almost of the entire workforce are based in the North East alone, despite it representing about 0.7% of the UK population. So if you think about a cluster of a workforce within a specific industry, the energy industry is absolutely in Aberdeen City and Shire. And we believe at the Chamber that we have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be a world leader in transition and low-carbon energy, but only if we get the policy sensible and supportive from government at all levels. And if you remember the ABBA headline from a few slides ago, and after the loss of the Freeport status, followed by the awarding of the investment zone, you can be forgiven to think that perhaps the Windsor does in fact take it all. And sorry for those young enough to not remember ABBA. The good news is that we have made progress on all of the 5 points laid out on the action plan for the region from our letter sent to Downing Street last year. And those are to enable a stable fiscal regime to incentivise greater energy security and accelerate the transition, relocate the Department for Energy Security and Net Zero to Aberdeen, as you'll recall a few slides ago that we did in fact achieve, invest in the grid connections and capacity to allow us to store this green and renewable energy and use it across the whole of the UK, support the growth of the carbon cluster project at pace, and deliver a new deal to energise the northeast of Scotland. And last year we held an energy industry roundtable with some of our key partners and invited Sir Keir Starmer to have his party and he listened to the concerns about his proposed policies, including the relocation of the much discussed GB Energy to Aberdeen, should Labour be elected. Those of you with a political persuasion will be aware that much of this work is ongoing as the Chamber continues to lobby for the best outcome for the North East. At Scottish Government level, we're in regular conversations with the SNP, in which the First Minister gave this response. But will this follow into government policy? We shall see. You'll see in the response that Humza here has said that he is conscious of the need to maintain energy security throughout the process of transition and balancing the journey to net zero with our interim oil and gas needs. We do not want to be importing oil and gas from elsewhere with a greater carbon footprint. And that's something that the Chamber is very much behind. Lots of stats on this slide, but basically what it's telling us from our energy transition report, something that we have been running since 2004 biannually. This is exactly the data that is provided by our energy industry members. It does show some light at the end of the tunnel. It shows that the North East will continue to be a critical player in the UK's energy security, and that the confidence in that statement is rising throughout the months and years. This will be through our resilience of our energy ecosystem. We've been through it before, and we can get through it again. So is this a new dawn for Aberdeen? We think so. 80% of the licensed ScotWind sites are within 100 miles of Aberdeen. £10 billion worth of SSEN electricity transmission network upgrade in the region to enable 11 gigawatts of ScotWind projects. That's enough to power 9.6 million homes for 1 year. Aberdeen is the home of the new hydrogen hub, the Acorn Carbon Cluster or Carbon Capture project. Hydrogen and DAC projects are all in this region. Plans for the largest wind farm in Scotland in Aberdeenshire. We are rich in the minerals needed to produce our own batteries for electric cars and other means. There's billions of local supply chain opportunity in this region, and there's significant infrastructure and regeneration investment in the pipeline. And further, there is a resilience and a diversified economy in the Northeast. We have strong regional partnerships, including the regional economic strategy work that I mentioned earlier, the city region deal and the follow-up plans on that. The Just Transition Fund and investment zones represent great opportunities for the Northeast. We have a world-class cluster on supply chain and infrastructure, especially within energy. ETZ, NZTC, and various other bodies, and our universities, of course, are providing the skills and knowledge we need to drive the transition forward. And the inward investment and placemaking work are crucial to the future of this region. A recent report from RGU tells us that direct energy jobs in the region can increase from 45,000 to 54,000 if we achieve the global energy hub status that we seek. But we're much more than just an energy region. Marine and shipping industries, world-class universities, granite production and construction, whisky, food and drink, and life sciences make Aberdeen one of the most resilient, innovative, and enviable locations across the globe. And we also have a bright future, but only if we do the right stuff now. We need a strong and diversified economy, making it a great place to live, work, study, invest, and do business. And looking into our city centre, as I mentioned earlier, we're working with some of our key partners to make the city better for all, with high-spec office spaces, arts and cultural attractions, and headline developments such as Union Terrace Gardens and the new £40 million market. But we still need to do more. Since launching our Union Street last year, the Chamber has been able to create one of the best, if not the best, incentive packages for city centres anywhere in the UK, whereby new tenants to vacant units can benefit from up to 2 years of no business rates or rent and up to £35,000 in matched startup fundings plus supporting services. Some great progress has been made here ahead of many other major UK cities, with noticeable decline in vacant units, but more still needs to be done as we continue on this journey. And the Chamber has helped drive thousands of people into the city centre last year and this year with our Ultimate Masterclass Festival. This year we'll welcome household names such as Gary Neville, Louis Theroux, Davina McCall and others. And keep an eye on our bulletin for more news to come on these. And away from Aberdeen City, let's speak about the Shire. One of our big commitments this year is the Campaign for North East Rail, or CNER for short. Did anyone in the room know that Peterhead and Fraserburgh are the two furthest away towns from a rail station in the UK? Further, with the announcement of the St Fergus Acorn project last year, it stands that all of the UK's non-pipe carbon capture will have to continue up already unsuitable single-track road. The freight opportunity on the CNER is massive, with key supporters across sectors such as ASCO, Brewdog, Mackey's and others. The CNER is designed to change our rail infrastructure for the better, with significant funding secured for the investment in a feasibility and economic impact study. The Chamber expects to receive results on this in March and to bring key stakeholders into the fold and set things in motion. And finally, we're relaunching our Absolutely Regional Narrative Toolkit this year, a free-to-use website containing professional photography, videos and copy to help sell the region to external business investment and as a place to work, study and live. The story of the place voted best to live in the UK. In November last year, a study of over 6,000 residents from across the UK revealed Aberdeen to be the best place to live in the UK. I hope that today I've helped you understand that Aberdeen is a place with a bright future and that has ambitions that matches your own. And on behalf of the Chamber, I wish you all the very best in your future careers, whatever that may be. If you want to hear the latest from the Northeast business community every day, please scan the code on the screen now or visit agcc.co.uk and join 17,000 others who start their day informed. Thanks very much.